watch it before other people do. Can't believe he did that. Like, didn't he know that like this was gonna happen?
He should have.
It's true.
Yeah,
Huh? What did Bug say?
that should have been our write-in. White
It's
Pharaoh
true.
Julian. I don't know. I'm kind of
It's
partial to
true.
Free Palestine.
Oh no. Julian said that there was like two sets of ears with the white pharaoh Julian, and don't remember. Like, I think he's right, but he said it bothers him.
Good.
It's super. Yeah.
Here, read this. You had some questions about
Uh-oh.
gerrymandering. Honestly, if
You
you
good?
want, you don't have to read this. I can read it out to you. Would that be better?
Yes.
Okay. Hello,
Hello? Who's
hello.
that? Oh, it's Felix.
Felix,
Felix.
welcome.
Hey, I'm gonna be on mute. I got
Alright,
accounting homework
okay.
tomorrow, but we talking about like stuff again?
So we're not going to be focusing primarily on the election. We're going to be checking in on it occasionally. We're mainly just going to be
Okay.
doing emotions check-in and then like talking about gerrymandering and
Or
general
okay.
politics stuff.
Okay. Okay, I'll be around then.
Yeah, feel
Uh,
free to chime in if you have any thoughts or emotions that you want to share.
yeah, will do. Okie doke.
Let me just check in with some other people.
No! Fuck! Why the fuck? No! That's not what I. No, Bug! Why? No! Bug, why would
Wait,
you
where
do
is it?
that?
What chat?
No! This is
Oh,
not what I asked for! This is not what I asked for!
I think you should put that. Wait, where is the... Oh, I see. Oh, I never realized we had a chat here. Wild. You learn a new thing every day. How did you pick, like, the two pictures of me where I look the most Republican ever? I hate you.
I was gonna do you in the clown makeup for the Matrix one, but that one was so funny.
I look like...
Bug,
That was
this
my
is
cop
so
glasses.
cursed.
No, I edited those on top. That was you at the pumpkin patch.
It was. Because I have the striped eyebrows. Sorry, I saw it, like, I didn't open it all the way. I just saw it like this. Like, isn't that from the grocery store when I have the cop glasses? Horrendous, man.
And it's not even like well edited. I literally just like slap you guys' face on top of things. I'm doing this in a free like phone drawing app.
I'm never forgiving you, Bug, by the way.
You,
Where'd you even,
So much
like.
inspiration.
Faye, you could not handle being me. Do you know how much I have to put up with?
I'm also being dramatic, so.
I only did Fozzie Faye. I've done Matrix Faye.
When did
I've
I
Eleven
send you
Faye.
that photo of Fozzie? I don't remember
Oh,
this.
Don't worry about
I
it.
can do the photos chat in Discord.
And how did Bug just have it on hand?
Don't worry
Must
about
have been
it.
a while ago. Oh my god.
Oh,
I'm
Bug
muted.
Yeah,
You
that's
are.
true.
Faye has not
Faye
been
has
able to
not
hear
been
you.
able to hear you.
Have you not heard a single thing I've said this entire time?
I've
That's
heard
fucked up.
vague things you've said in because I heard you in the background of Ray, but not
Oh,
very.
okay. I found it in the pictures chat in the Discord. Be careful what you send, lest I turn it into a horrid creation such as this.
Is there any way for
So
you, for
funny.
me to mute you on
Honestly,
my side?
Yes, I have you muted on my side.
I can hear you through my audio. Oh, it's because it's picking up my
Yeah.
voice from your
I think it
audio.
would be
Well, no, I have
better.
you muted, so.
I think it would
I'm
be
sitting
better
next
if
to you.
I'm so
edited
stupid, you're
Cosmic
right.
Space onto my body. I think that would.
Oh, I can do that next if you want.
Bug, you're sitting next to me, so
No.
your audio is
Yeah.
working.
Hit general, hit me, I think. And I think you could mute me from there. Or, okay, wait, let me.
But won't
Are you
everyone
on?
else hear
Are
me
you on
twice
computer?
from mine
No.
and then also yours?
No, because I have you muted.
Ray, are you on?
Oh, wait, you're right. Fuck. I'm wearing
Right
headphones.
click
Like
Bug in the
earbuds, so I
chat.
don't think
You right
they
click
talk.
Bug in the chat and
It's
click
picking
mute.
me up.
What if I mute myself?
Bug. Oh wait, that might work.
You're so good at this.
Okay, but then you have to lean in close to me.
Chat, can you hear me?
Maybe.
Okay, that's an affirmative. Can you hear them?
Yes,
Okay.
I may be muted, but they're not.
Babe, aren't you glad that you're dating me? With my technological prowess?
If we have another repeat of fucking Minecraft night, it's over.
I love you!
Oh, poor John.
Poor John, indeed.
Fozzie Faye now.
I feel like I don't really want to get started until everyone shows up. I don't know how many people are going to show up.
Should we start getting headed over?
To where?
I thought we were gonna pick Ray up.
No, Rain's taking the bus over.
Oh, okay. I was not informed of that.
Oh, that was the alternative.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait, no. Rain's mom is giving it a ride.
Okay, that's good. Oh, I forgot the picture of Faye I used was from the pumpkin patch in the thing, so I have to find a different picture of Faye. This is fucked up.
So, how's everyone feeling? How's your day been?
I meet at we're doing enriched dough in class this week, and we started a brioche dough that we're gonna turn into brioche cinnamon rolls on Thursday. But we also made challah bread, which I can share a picture of. It turned out really pretty.
Ooh.
Um, and I braided a 6-strand challah bread, and we also did like a cheese and pesto babka that we're gonna bake on Thursday as well. So yeah.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah. That's what it looked like baked and also when I braided it.
Oh, Faye, what a grand mistake you've made. Putting a picture of yourself.
Oh no, Bug, what are you doing?
Oh, I have a life update.
Oh, what's
Yes,
up?
Felix.
My roommate moved in like 2 days ago.
The same one
Yeah,
from before or a
how's it
different one?
going?
No, different one.
Okay, okay.
I never let that person back in my house
I
or
was
my
about to
life.
say, like, sir?
No. This is my friend's partner. I've met them already, and like we kind of like worked it out. I'm just really tired.
Completely understandable.
So you've been helping them
Yeah.
move in and everything? That's what's been going on?
Yeah, essentially, we did a lot of grocery shopping the other day, and like just like furniture shopping and stuff like that. I went to
Yeah.
like 5 different stores, so I was kind of pooped. And then
Oh,
at school
damn.
today,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out like this accounting stuff. I had a really bad tummy ache this morning. It was like so bad I couldn't pay attention in class and I'm kind of lost.
Yeah.
Yar. Yar, matey, me tummy hurt.
Uh, yeah, it's true.
Yar. And like the textbook,
I
honestly.
was sorry. I was laughing because I was remembering how I triggered you to start talking like a pirate.
I only say yar though.
Yeah, but it still counts.
Wait, guys, I still
Okay.
have pirate jokes I memorized for the pirate day at Alden Lane.
Oh my god,
Oh
that's
shit. Hey,
They
you
were.
said you wanted to borrow stuff from me and you never did. I even texted you about it.
I'm sorry.
You're an awful person, Ray. I can't believe you.
Wait, repeating to the
Yeah,
Anyway,
mic.
you gotta
I
be.
said, you're an awful person, Ray. I can't believe you.
This is what I
it's
have to
Okay,
deal
we
true.
can
with.
do that.
Am I wrong? Yes.
Okay, guys, are you ready for some stand-up comedy on the eve of the election?
The,
Yes.
the eve, isn't it the day of the
To
election?
the election.
It is the day of, but like it's gonna be a couple days. So correct, that was the wrong thing to say.
Uh,
I'm also very
wow,
tired.
fake election fan, fake election fan.
True, it's been a very rough like 6
21 years.
weeks.
Yeah, it's been rough. I don't know how to do this. Okay,
Okay,
whatever.
guys. How do you save a drowning pirate?
You don't let it drown.
How?
Um um I don't know.
CPR.
Um
No.
Told you they were bad.
What
Minus
sub?
5 aura.
Okay, hold up. What grades did the pirate get in school? Also, these are kid-friendly
Uh,
ones.
or say that again.
These are all kid-friendly ones because I was saying these to
No,
children.
the part. No, the joke. Say the joke again.
What grades do pirates get in school?
7
What?
C's.
Close.
I
The
don't know.
high C's.
Oh, I was gonna say that.
Damn.
Okay. Second, let's see. What's the pirate's favorite basketball move?
What?
Nobody plays sports
Yeah,
here.
pirates don't play basketball.
Yes, they
Yeah,
do.
they plunder.
Nuh-uh.
Pirates have a rich
Um.
and engaging life beyond plundering. Check your privilege.
Uh-huh. Oh my god.
It's the hook shot.
I literally was a
What?
pirate, but whatever. It's the hook shot. That's crazy.
What's a pirate's favorite kind of fish?
Um.
Parrotfish.
Oh.
Good guess, but no.
What?
Oh.
It's the swordfish.
My
Damn.
answer
I
was
feel
also
like
really good.
yeah, yeah.
What's orange and sounds like a pirate's parrot?
Uh,
Scurvy?
A carrot.
orange. Okay. Oh my god.
Oh.
What bank do pirates use?
They don't use banks. They plunder
Bug, what are
banks.
you doing? Bug, what did you do? What did
A
you do, Bug?
sandbank.
What? That's
Oh
so
fuck.
good.
No.
That's a bad answer.
What's a
Who
pirate's
who
favorite
came up with it?
exercise?
I mean, I think it depends on the pirate, honestly.
Okay, woke liberal.
Shut up. Can't even have yoga anymore because of woke.
Literally. It's the
True.
plank.
Oh.
Okay, what's a pirate's least favorite vegetable? You guys
What?
suck. A leek. That's
I'm
like the
sorry.
easiest one.
Well, you got your jokes on.
I got distracted. I'm sorry.
That's what I said.
That's like going to the dollar store and being like, wow, the quality of these stuff sucks.
The quality of my audience sucks, Dan.
You sound like that one conservative
Oh,
comedian.
Yeah.
Why
okay.
doesn't
I
the
guess we don't have
pirate
to be
carry
here
his
then.
Why does the pirate carry his sword?
For
Why?
self-defense, literally. Like
It's
that's
'cause swords
Obviously.
can't walk on their own.
oh my god.
That's
That
the
doesn't make any
unity.
sense. That actually doesn't
Dad
make any
jokes.
sense.
What side of a parrot if a of a pirate's parrot has the prettiest feathers?
Say that again?
What side of a pirate's parrot has the prettiest feathers?
The tail feathers? I don't
The outside.
Oh.
That one's the
What?
worst one by far.
How is that a
doesn't even,
pirate
like,
joke?
that's just not a joke.
Because pirate love parrot,
Yes, it
obviously.
is.
No, but like
I got these
that's not
all
a parrot
online
joke.
from a
That's a
mom
parrot.
joke website. Give me a break.
That's a parrot joke, not a pirate joke.
It has the word pirate in it, okay?
No.
No, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
what did
Sean,
the
I think you gotta
pirate
kill this guy. Yeah.
what did the pirate get when he crossed a centipede and a parrot?
I don't like these.
What? A centiparrot. A centauret.
No, a walkie-talkie.
What?
Because centipedes walk and parrots talk. It's a walkie-talkie.
Oh, that's so stupid.
Where is
I
your
just
whimsy, guys? Come on. It is the day of the
My one was
election.
My whimsy is not these jokes. I have whimsiness, just not for this.
Guys, this is
You
the day
better
of the
go.
election. I've been listening to live coverage since I hung up earlier. Have some whimsy.
Oh my
We
god.
gotta go. What's a pirate's worst enemy?
I don't know, the IRS?
Good one. No, termites.
I don't even think they would get termites. They're like, whatever.
How do I hang myself for the best?
their ship is made out
I
of
know
what
how. I'm
Felix?
not gonna tell
They
you.
have peg legs. They have peg
Ugh,
legs.
whatever.
Okay. What's the pirate's favorite subject in school?
Algebra.
That's a good one, but no, very close.
You sound
Oh.
like
Um Geography.
Okay, Felix had the first syllable correct.
Without being put on a watch list.
I can just Google it. I'm on
Uh,
This will be the last question,
I don't
babe.
know.
John is threatening to hang herself. It's art. Okay.
Oh my god.
That's so
No.
stupid.
Yeah,
My answer
algebra's
was
better.
better.
Yeah, because I agree with Felix because they use math to navigate. So yeah,
Maybe your
it
pirates
makes more
do.
sense.
Mine communed with the spirits.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, can you ask the spirit for a better joke?
Sure. Ooh, that does
Thank
look
you
really
for
nice,
sitting on
Faye.
Ray with me, Felix.
I wake up,
What?
I wake up and I bully myself internally, and then I hop online and I get bullied externally, and then I hop back offline. It's a never-ending cycle.
It's true.
Okay,
Yar. Maybe
so,
like
huh?
no, sorry, go ahead.
Yes.
No, go on.
Who is it?
Oh,
Hello,
it's
Jack.
fine, it's fine. Hi, Jack.
Felix says hi.
Hello.
Hey. Guys, this accounting shit kind of
Jack.
difficult, I'm not gonna lie.
Oof, I can imagine.
Oh, I
So,
don't love a cake. I don't want it. I don't want
Like,
it. I'm
you
so
guys
sorry.
know it. Wait, what? Is this just
Don't
correct? I
want
don't know.
I have bread for you though. Why are you whining? Oh my god. I'm so what? You sound like Captain Brian. Oh my god. You have an assault that's going on? Where are you?
Guys, what if I just gave up?
that's what I did.
What did you
That's
do,
that.
Felix?
Erg.
I was supposed to
Gave
get
up
I
like
just
a shit ton
don't
of
want
homework
to
done
do it
today.
anymore.
Oh, are you on John's Wi-Fi?
So
Because
yeah,
I'm on my hotspot.
This is my
I was
computer.
gonna do homework as well,
Oh
and then
wait,
I
somehow
was
my
just so
computer's connected
easy
to your phone.
I could not stay awake.
Weird.
Well, the thing is, this is
Okay, gamers.
I should.
Gamers. Faye, specifically, do you want me to start talking about the gerrymandering stuff? Hello? Am I freezing?
It's hollow bread. Eat it. Take it. It's your bread.
Hello?
Where have you been?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
Oh, I don't
Question,
think
Faye.
you, Ray, but whatever fucking is Jax. Yes, Ray.
Do you want
Oh
me
my God,
to...
Jax, get out!
Jax did
No one
nothing wrong. Free
cares.
my boy.
Dude. Oh, this is pretty gay to me. Get
Everyone,
out!
Rain is gonna be here in 15 minutes, just so you guys know. Okay, Faye, question. Do you want me to start covering the gerrymandering stuff right now?
Sure. I was thinking about. Oh my God, Jax, get out! Oh my God, Jesus. You have to interrupt it when I was trying to listen to you, but I was thinking about also watching Fozzie while in call, but yeah, I can listen essentially.
So, I'm going to start discussing, um, one sec. I'm gonna start talking about gerrymandering. I'm gonna first, just to get everyone up to the same page, I'm just going to generally discuss the article that I linked into the Discord, which kind of explains the basics of gerrymandering and um, how they are developed. We can also look into how redistricting itself works. Interesting. Well, this is a .edu. Okay, so just to start off with the basics, in most states, the state legislature has the primary control of the redistricting process, and that's usually based on the census. Hey babe, I love you so much. Can you turn it down slightly? Thank you. Um, so let's now I'm just reading off of redistricting.lls.edu, which I will also link to the Discord. Um, I'm not gonna lie, I'm tired, so I'm just gonna be doing reading. I'm not gonna input my own thoughts until afterwards. So, who draws the lines? This is basically gonna be discussing how redistricting itself works, and people vote within their districts, and that which way a district votes is what informs the electoral college. Like how each county votes is what the electoral college bases their votes on rather than the popular vote in a state, to my knowledge. So, in most states, the state legislature has the primary control of the redistricting process for both state legislative districts and for congressional districts. So, this also determines which group of people does someone in Congress represent. So, for example, in this ballot that I hope everyone filled out, maybe you were in District 4, maybe you were in District 6 for certain things. Um, let's see how many districts there are in California. I think there's like, okay. So, right now, California has 52 congressional districts, and ba 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 ba. And that's partially because we're a huge fucking state and we have a lot of fucking people. So ba, 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 ba. Huh. We actually lost one of the congressional seats that we had gained during the 2000 census, which took us from 52 districts to from 53 districts to 52. I'd heard about that, but kind of forgot. So yeah, you can see. Oh wait, can you guys see my screen? I'm not sharing my screen. Here, I will start sharing my screen. So you can see here. This is how some of the districts in California vote, and you can see, depending on where you are in California, you might be in a Republican voting area or a Democrat voting area, at least for the congressional representatives. Are they a Republican or are they a Democrat? You could have voted in a Republican congressperson, but vote Democrat in the general. That's also possible, and vice versa. So, this is a look at a couple of the people we have. And it also tells you what city it is under here. So, for example, Sacramento is represented by Doris Matsui, or Matsu. Not entirely sure how to pronounce it. Let's see where else. Oakland is Barbara Lee, who I think was up for election, if I'm correct. This Eric Swalwell is Livermore, slash Pleasanton. Let's see. Santa Barbara, Westlake Village. We can go down through the whole list. There's 52 of these people. We don't really need to. But these are the people who represent California in Congress. Now, Congress is part of the legislative branch of government, so they're going to oversee things like funding, different committees, they draft bills that get signed into law, etc., etc. And they also have control over the redistricting process itself. So depending on who is in power in Congress, or in the state legislature, you are also going to have those people making decisions about where lines are drawn in terms of, are you going to count votes Livermore and Pleasanton combined, or will it be Livermore Dublin? Between towns, for example, there are an infinite number of ways that you can draw a map to divide up a group of people, and typically the goal is to do that in regards to population, and if they share similar interests or would need to be represented in similar ways. But oftentimes that's not exactly how it turns out. Wait, I'm putting too much of my opinion in this. Let me just read. So, 34 of the state legislators have primary control of their own district lines, and 39 legislators have primary control over the congressional lines in their state, including the 6 states that have just one congressional district. I wonder which states that are, I guess. So let's look that up. Let's see which states have just one congressional district. I have a feeling that, Alaska was the one I was gonna say. Um, so those states would be Alaska, Wyoming, Montana, North Dakota. This is more than six. South Dakota, Vermont, and Delaware. Is that what I'm asking for? Let me rephrase that. Let's say which six states. Yeah. Alaska, Wyoming, Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Vermont, and Delaware. Vermont, Bernie Sanders. So that means that in Congress there's only one represent representative for those states, whereas in California we have 52 representatives. So this is the part of our government that's proportioned according to the population of the state, whereas the Senate you have two per state, um, irrespective of population. Does that make sense for everyone? I'm just gonna go ahead under the assumption that
Yeah,
everyone
sorry.
is.
Yes, I was struggling to unmute myself.
No, you're,
Yes.
you're totally chilling. That's all good. Where, what? Okay. In most of these states, district lines pass just like regular legislation, with a majority vote in each legislative chamber. The first draft is often done by legislative committees chosen by legislative leadership.
Okay.
So basically, that's saying that when district lines are being reconfigured or voted on, like as a response to the census, um, it is passed the same way that a bill would be passed, uh, thereby a majority vote. Usually, these bills are subject to a veto by the governor and potentially overridden by the legislators. Override thresholds range from a simple majority to two-thirds, meaning that, same like with bills that are passed through Congress, a governor can overturn them or override them, but then it gets sent back to the legislators, and if they vote majority or two-thirds, depending on the state, then they can override the governor's overriding and go through with it anyways. So that's how most states conduct districting. Connecticut and Maine both require supermajorities, which would be two-thirds. This is just giving examples of the different states and the different ways that they do it. Not super important. Although, if you're interested, I did link it in the Discord so you can read about that. 4 of the states above, Iowa, Maine, Utah, and Vermont, appoint advisory commissions to help advise the legislator about where district lines should be drawn. In most states, legislative committees draft initial redistricting plans, just like they draft most legislation, but in these states with advisory committees, non-legislators are also invited to formally participate in the initial drafting body. Advisory committees recommend district plans to the legislator, but the legislator has the final say. The commissions vary widely. Some are created by statute and can be changed or eliminated by the legislator, and some are written into the state constitution, and some, like Iowa, amount to a much stronger and more independent default than others. So to break down what that's saying, it's just, well, I'll finish it. In Maryland, a 9-member advisory committee assists the governor in developing draft plans that are then submitted to the state legislature at the beginning of their session. So these are a couple different ways that states will navigate the development of the district lines from the very beginning. Some places, like Iowa, Maine, Utah, and Vermont, have committees that advise the legislator. Well, these are non-legislators who are appointed to an advisory commission and then are invited to participate in the process of developing the maps. So their input is sought out, appointed, and then taken into consideration for the drafting itself. And the commissions themselves can vary a lot. Some of them are created by a statute that can be changed or like completely gotten rid of. And then some are written into the actual state constitution, which means you wouldn't be able to override that without a ruling from the state Supreme Court. Wait, no, that's not true, is that? Would you also be able to override that with a vote? Or does that depend state to state? Let's learn something else. How to change a state constitution. AI. Okay. So a
I have a
constitutional
Fozzie cam going, by the way.
Fozzie where? Oh, buddy.
Yeah, Father Cam.
Oh, I see. Little guy. Hello, sir. So it looks like in California, a constitutional amendment can be initiated by the legislator if it's passed by both houses with a two-thirds vote. It doesn't need a governor's signature, but it only becomes part of the Constitution if the electorate approves it at the next general election. So it looks like different states have different constitutional amendment processes. Um, so ignore what I said before. Turns out they're a lot easier to change than the federal constitution, which makes sense. Oh wow, the current constitutions of the 50 states have been amended around 7,000 times. That's wild.
Wow.
I remember learning
Is
about
it
this.
the federal constitution or what?
No, the
What
federal
did you say?
so this is state constitutions. So basically, state
Oh,
constitutions, you can change them. The ways that you change them vary a lot state to state, but overall, it tends to be a lot easier to modify, meaning that across all 50 states, they have been amended around 7,000 times, whereas the US federal constitution has only been amended 27 times.
okay.
So it sounds like states vary in how often they amend their constitutions. I'm just going to read off of this right now. The constitutions of Alabama, Louisiana, South Carolina, Texas, and California are amended more than 3 to 4 times per year on average. So that's a lot of amendments year to year. I will be right back. Um, Look at Fozzie, give him some attention. Hello, we're looking to
It's
the
true.
process to change state constitutions and how much time
It's
it takes
rather
each
dark
state.
right now, though, so you can't really see Fuzzy.
How are you doing?
Can-
We were going to be talking about like election issues and stuff tonight. But what are your guys' plans? That depends on like in this room I'll be talking about stuff, but it's too overwhelming right now just to do that. Or we could be gamers. We could be gamers. Spawn fire jokes. And everyone threw tomatoes at me. We're only going to be checking the race itself occasionally, if at all. Right now we're just talking about behind the scenes how
How are you doing, Felix?
related to gerrymandering in state districts and how they're drawn in local congressional districts.
Just hang on.
That here. No. Hello, hello, gamers. How's it going?
Gamer.
Okay, so where were we? Um, so the states vary in how often they amend their constitutions. For one example, Alabama, Louisiana, South Carolina, Texas, and California tend to be on the more frequent, like 3 to 4 times per year. Whereas places like Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois, Vermont are only like once every 3 to 4 years on average. So wild. And right here, this is through statecourtreport.org, and I put that in the Discord. They also have an overview of the constitutional amendment processes in each of the states, um, whether it be by legislators, citizens, conventions, and commissions, and then the different ways those things are structured. So, for those of you who have lost the plot, we were talking about gerrymandering. Where's my plot? Okay, we were talking about gerrymandering. Wait, God, I have so many tabs open. I'm so bad at keeping track of them.
I can't wait to turn this into a pen.
I'm just gonna go ahead and think this is where we started. Okay, so we were talking about the process by which congressional district lines are drawn. And then we went to this page to learn a little bit more. We learned about how, for most states, the state legislator has the primary control of the redistricting process. And then we had a little bit of a breakdown of the ways that occurs, whether it be by supermajority or simple majority. Then we went to discuss how some states use or require an advisory committee, um, and the fact that some advisory committees are by statute, which can be overturned by the legislator, but some are written into the state constitution. And then we started looking into the ways that you can actually change the state constitution. There's no way it's that close. Ugh. Okay. So turns out you can change it in a lot of different ways. It happens pretty frequently. Let's just take it real simple and let's look at California. I think California was, we looked at that, didn't we? It was it gets introduced and then passed by the legislator, and then it has to be approved by the electorate, which is the voters, at the next general election before it gets added to the Constitution. Let's double check. Yeah. So, a constitutional amendment, this is from ca.gov, constitutional amendments, ACA slash C slash SCA 6920 DGS. A constitutional amendment can be initiated by the legislator if it passes both houses with a two-thirds vote. A constitutional amendment does not need the governor's signature, but becomes part of the Constitution only if the electorate approves it at the next general election. So that could be initiated by the legislator, by citizens, or by convention referred constitutional amendment. Let's look into that. This is your live feed into how I conduct research. Which this is like the speediest speedrun possible. So it seems like convention referred is brought up in the state court report that we're looking at. By a convention of the states. Okay, so it looks like the state constitutional convention proposes and then passes by the voter base. Seems like that's not super common. Cool. So we're getting a little bit into the weeds. No, that's important.
I'm sorry, what passes by the voter base?
So we went down a couple rabbit holes and we started looking at how different states change their state constitutions.
Okay.
And that can be, in California specifically, legislative, citizen initiated, or convention referred. I was just looking into what convention referred, so it seems like or California has a constitutional convention that can convene and then propose a change, but they still have to run it by the voter base before it becomes part of the Constitution.
Okay.
So in California, an amendment can be introduced in a lot of different ways. It only passes and gets added to the Constitution if the majority of the citizens of California vote for it.
Okay.
So let's actually look. Does California have an advisory committee for redistricting? I'm almost certain it does.
Yeah, I've seen the different things being proposed on the ballot in past years.
Mm-hmm.
I keep AB. Nipping the bush.
Huh. In November 2008, California voters passed the Voters First Act, authorizing the creation of the Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission to draw new district lines, taking the job out of the hands of the California legislation and passing it to the citizens.
Interesting. So we don't have a committee, or we do?
That's what I'm wondering. So this was the 2020 California Citizens Redistricting Commission website. So this is information about how our redistricting process works and how you can get involved. Okay. In 2010, the Voters First Act for Congress added the responsibility of drawing congressional districts to the commission. So let's see. You can serve on the 2030 convention. Huh. This is neat. It looks like there would be videos and PDFs to look for. So I'm just gonna pop this link into the... How about another day we can do a deep dive into California's redistricting process, and then otherwise we can keep going with general learning. How's that sound? Oh, oh fuck! I just got dropped.
You got dropped from your Discord?
Yeah, the CIA wants me dead. Hello?
Hello?
The CIA tried to like kill me, but I'm stronger than them and
It's
I come
true.
back and I came back alive.
Yep.
So what I was saying is, this is interesting. I'm tired. I already had a little bit to drink, and I think we should save this for a deeper dive at a later date.
Is this an election?
Yeah, that's
How do we feel
fine.
about that? Yes. So we can learn a little bit more about the California Citizens Redistricting Commission, but otherwise let's look at some 101 California redistricting. Sorry, it's okay if you sit up.
If that's uncomfortable for you, I can scoot over and you could sit. Alright.
Let's just look at this 101 and then we can go back to the main topic. I'm just going to read this off. This is from Cal Matters. It was published in 2021, and it's a California Redistricting What You Need to Know 101. I'll just read off a little bit. Some describe redistricting as a giant puzzle. Others call it the world's most difficult art project. Who the fuck says either of those things? Okay, sorry, that's me being a bitch. Another way to think of the redrawing of the electoral maps after every census, the middle piece between the once-a-decade population count and our elections. California's Independent Redistricting Commission has finished looking at possible scenarios for redrawing lines based on how the state's population has shifted, responding to public input as received while trying to keep an equal number of people in each district, 52 for Congress, 80 for state assembly, and 40 for state senate. Now, to break down that last paragraph, what's saying there is that we take the census every 10 years, right? Or is it 12 years?
I don't know.
It's 10 years, right?
You want me to look it up?
No, I can do it. It just happened in 2020, didn't it?
I have no idea. Nobody asked me.
Census?
It's every 10 years, right?
I think that's what we figured out, remember? Because I had a question about it.
Mm.
Yes, every 10 years. So the last one was in 2020. Whew, I'm not insane. So
Yeah, question.
I have some wild news to share with you guys. It turns out that state's population can like change a lot in 10 years. Like wild shit happens. So, you know, it's good every 10 years to take a look at like, hey, did everyone flee this region and then move somewhere else? Or did we get a large influx due to like other states having issues you're seeing right now? A lot of people are moving, well, not a lot, but you are seeing people moving from red states post Roe v. Wade. Or for example, in areas where there are frequent hurricanes, or like frequent natural disasters, with the growth of climate change, you also see a lot of people moving to and from. During COVID, you saw a lot of people moving out of big cities to more rural areas with the rise of online work and the ability to access a higher level of pay while living in a rural area, which means you can afford a much higher standard of life in that area than you could where the job is hosted. Um, so every 10 years, stuff changes. People move. Um, New populations are developed. The goal of this commission, but generally redistricting, ostensibly the goal is supposed to be looking at that population change and being like, okay, let's redraw our maps so that our districts continue to include like roughly the same number of people per district, although not always, um, often not. Um, but let's redraw our district to include and reflect these changes in the population centers, um, while also maintaining, you know, the number of people who like the number of congressional offices that you have, unless you have a good reason to shift that. So, summarize, every 10 years, shit changes. We have to look at our maps and be like, okay, should people be grouped differently? And you have to make a justification for that. On November 10th, the Commission released its preliminary maps. On December 20th, after late night meetings for line drawing and hearing more public comment, it adopted new districts, which will be used for the next decade, starting with the 2022 election. So we can actually take a look at that if we want and see what the new districts were. This was relevant in the 2022 elections and then with this election now. Excuse me. California voters have the brand new districts they'll use to elect their members of Congress and state legislators after the state's Independent Redistricting Commission voted unanimously on December 20th of, I'm assuming 2021? Yes. To approve its final maps. These districts take effect. Okay, just tell me where they are. What are they? Huh? It's not telling me where they are. But it does also say, in addition to balancing population numbers, the Commission had to comply with the Federal Voting Rights Act, ensuring that no minority votes group is drowned out. Wait, no minority group's vote is drowned out. This is true. Not every state complies with it, in my opinion. Actually, in uh, that one judge who ruled, what was it? I'm trying to find that famous quote. Okay, I'm not finding it. So based exclusively on my very fuzzy memory, I could be completely wrong. But there was a judge ruling that happened in like the last 4 to 6 years, that I remember reading the highlights of. So I take a quick look at the updated um, polling numbers. Never mind. What? Where's the Kapaku?
Reloading it isn't gonna make it not be Alabama.
Oh, the problem I was having here is that I clicked something and then I went back and then I went forward and then the Al Jazeera live count was wrong. Like it's Al Jazeera, so I'd rather look at CNN or something anyways.
I believe Al Jazeera said that it was getting it from AP anyway.
Yeah. USA Today isn't much better. Okay, you are not updated. Okay, there.
See, interesting. I looked at the AP count earlier and I thought it was different.
The problem is this is going to change back and forth. Well, the electoral votes isn't going to change. but this is an estimate. This is a projection.
Yeah.
We won't know for sure until we know for sure.
Until I know for sure.
Trump got North Carolina. I have that tab open somewhere because it's literally purple.
Isn't North Carolina usually a state?
It was one of the swing states.
Why the fuck is it?
Oh, I see.
Stupid.
Oh, did someone join? No, someone left. Bug, you left? Sitting right next to me, hearing everything that I'm saying, and you left?
Bug,
Come on, come on, come on. Yeah.
Bug, I can't hear what you're saying. Bug, I can't hear what you're saying.
I must
Bug.
have been mistaken.
Oh my god, they got California.
Damn. Oh, Fuzzy.
So
Like, California's done?
yeah, Pennsylvania, where are you? Come on, I'm holding out hope for
Oh,
Pennsylvania.
I love feeling dread. I heart dread. Yes.
Come on, come on. Give me the...
If you click on the little thingy-majig, it should...
There we go. 86% of the votes counted in Pennsylvania. But it's close. I have more hope for Pennsylvania than I do for Georgia.
How's Texas looking
Wasn't
now? It was pretty
Arizona
close before.
close too?
Sorry, what?
Wasn't Arizona pretty close too?
I thought Arizona... Where? Yeah. I thought it fell.
Just in there.
I don't know my geography. That is very close. Only 51% of the counts... Only 51% of the votes are counted. Fingers crossed. What I am...
Oh, okay.
What
Only
I...
51%? Okay.
51% of the votes in Arizona. Across the board,
Oh.
I am mad about the Senate, but like not surprised. The House, please, 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 please,
Yeah.
please give us the House. I cannot deal with them not electing a new House Speaker before January 6th. I will go, as the youth may call it, goblin mode.
Yes.
Texas was looking pretty close earlier. I firmly believe, I think we could get a purple Texas in the next 8 years. Only 88% of the votes in Texas have been counted, but it has been called for Trump because, yeah, he's 14.
I mean, I
He's
feel
14 points ahead, so like
okay.
that's gonna be a hard beat if it maintains the current, proportioning. So let's not look at that for another hour. So we went off the deep end. Let's jump right back in. We learned nothing. So, in the U.S. House, 3 California Democrats are among the 23 Democrats nationally who have already opted not to run. Oh, this was back in 2021. This doesn't matter. Ba, 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 ba. Some California Democrats blasted the, quote, unilateral disarmament of their power, although an initial analysis by the Cook Political Report says that new congressional maps help Democrats. Interesting. I remember hearing about this, and that was like a thing, but I didn't really look very much into it. Okay, very cool. In 2021, it is far easier for advocacy groups and for others to submit their own maps, and to respond to mapping decisions in real time. As they did live line drawing, commissioners referenced these maps along with the feedback that they were getting. That's neat. I'm in favor of more people being able to submit maps. My concern would mainly be whether or not the feedback that they're getting is representative of the people in California, because I don't think it would be a correct statement to say that it is reflective of the general voter in California to be engaged enough in politics to understand congressional districting and then also be part of a group submitting input on congressional districting. I think this would be a better thing if it was paired with wider like intentional efforts to expand education and access to information around these topics so that eventually this could become a more reflective process of the American people or the Californian people. Does that make sense? I can say that in a more simple, like, not me rambling way. The crickets are so loud. I'm gonna drink more alcohol in the meantime.
I'm I'm sorry. I'm focused on walking Fozzie.
Did what I just say make any sense at all, or would you like me to restate it?
Um, maybe like the last couple sentences.
Okay, no worries. So, as of 2022 onwards, wrong, incorrect. Scratch that.
Oh, can't believe you lied.
As because we have our whatever it's called, the commission. What the okay, because we have California's independent commission that is equipped with the ability to draw district lines, it's easier for advocacy groups and other people to submit maps and then have that be reflected in the final decision. Meaning that today, because we have this independent commission, they're not part of the legislator. Um, I have to look into how exactly they are developed and selected, but I saw on their website that there was like an option to join the 2030 commission, so it seems relatively open. I assume you apply and maybe you have to attend meetings, etc., etc. We can dive into that later. But because we have that independent commission that's independent of the legislator, that means basically anyone can submit information to that commission, and
Oh,
then that will. Oh, hi! Hello!
who is that?
Lucy.
Welcome!
Uh,
So, so sorry, we are.
Wait, hold on.
Uh-oh.
Lucy's gone.
Oh, sad.
Ah,
Hello again. So,
Yippee.
just so you know, we are way deep in the weeds on something. I can give you a quick recap. Yeah, how's it going?
Good. I feel like I'm gonna throw up, I guess, but other than that, good.
Perfect, because you get to hear me yap about the redrawing of state congressional district lines, and that will make you so sleepy that you won't feel like throwing up.
Yay.
I opened that.
Huh?
Anyways, so let me just finish this
Now I
paragraph.
wanna know what it said.
Let me just. I have to open my Discord again. I hope you know that, babe. Anyways,
All I saw was nose.
anyways, so I was talking about this paragraph. I was going to restate what I said earlier. So, because California has the independent commission that is enabled to draw districts that isn't appointed by the legislator, it seems, and doesn't exist as part of the legislator, um, more people can submit information to this group and have it be reflective. Um, so we have this independent commission. That means more people can give more input into how California draws its districting maps. My only critique of that system would be I think this would be best if it was paired with intentional efforts. Okay, so never mind, I don't want to overcomplicate this. I think this would be best if it was paired with efforts to expand educational access to and information around congressional mapping so that okay, so basically one of my beliefs is that sorry.
It's gone now.
Good, okay. I protected you once, babe. Never again. Um sorry, talking to my girlfriend. Um that I forget that I'm like on a voice call sometimes. Um because
no.
anyone can give input into this commission and they have shown that they respond to that input, you would think more democracy. True. However, it's not just enough for the opportunity to exist if people cannot widely access that opportunity. And I don't think it would be a true statement to say that the majority of California, like their population, understands congressional districting, let alone has the knowledge necessary to provide input on the process. So, I do think this is good, generally, because I haven't seen any major red flags. But from an anarchist perspective, I want to add the caveat and the deeper level analysis of this being like, it's good that these systems exist. Next step, we need to make sure that people can access these systems. Because otherwise, the people who have the education and the time and the energy left over to dedicate towards proposing ideas for a congressional districting map are probably going to be people who are on average highly educated, on average higher income, and most likely already have experience in this process or around this process, meaning people who are involved in government. So I don't think this move on its own in a vacuum is necessarily reflective of the general Californian public because I don't think the general population in California meets all of those criterias. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Strap in, we only got like a couple more hours of this to go.
Yeah, I think I can't remember when, but at some point I just stopped watching the results. It's stressing me out too much.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll be checking in on it occasionally, but I can announce before I look, so if you want to just like mute me for a sec or pull your earbuds away, feel
Yeah.
free. Um, actually, let me check in with everyone. When I'm sharing my screen. I'm going to occasionally pan over to a page that has the voter stuff on it. Do you want me to announce it verbally when what the results are? Not say anything at all, or just warn you that it's gonna happen? How does everyone feel?
It'll it'll be fine. I'll just block it out of my mind like that stupid Black Mirror episode.
Based and valid. So, to recap for you, what we were doing was we, as I often do, got a little bit lost in the weeds. We were talking about gerrymandering, and you're learning about with me, which means you're learning about everything. So, it starts with discussing how congressional district lines are drawn, and in most states that's controlled by the state legislator. So then we opened a new page to discuss how that process works. Um, it's according, and I have this linked in the Discord as well, so you can look at this on your own or to double check. I'm mainly just reading this out, but then saying it in a more conversational, understandable way, hopefully, and then adding some of my
Like
input.
if the Library of Alexandria was your friend.
Kind of, yeah. um, that'll be my tagline. Was your friend, but also a dumbass. Um, so again,
Hey, you're not a dumbass. You're a smartass.
that is
Wait, no,
true.
smartass is an insult.
No,
Sorry.
no, no,
Sorry.
you're correct. I am a smartass. All of my partners call me that, and
That
most of my
is
friends. Here, wait, Frost. What's your?
Hmm? Oh yeah, you are absolutely a smartass. I agree.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You got the peer review correct.
Yeah.
They called you that because they were right.
That was Lucy.
Yeah, yeah, she knows what's up.
Yeah, I am proudly that I have been since birth.
Yeah.
Um. Oh no, we lost Lucy.
Oh no.
Tragic. Okay, well, hopefully they'll be back. I'll keep restating it just for general reasons. So again, the majority of the states, the people who decide. Do we all know what congressional districts mean? I explained it earlier, but would that help if I re-explain it? Just for to be thorough, let's do a congressional districts versus state legislator offices. Maybe we can even look at California in particular. Hello, welcome back.
Sorry, my apologies. It glitched out.
No, you're totally fine. Um,
Yay.
you know what? I'm gonna go to the most accurate question website ever, Quora. Let's see what the masses have to say.
If only Yahoo Answers was still around.
I don't think they have very good things to say right now, if I'm being fucking honest.
You know, the night Yahoo Answers shut down, I was there and I was screenshotting shit because there was some good stuff there.
I forgot Yahoo Answers shut down. That sucks.
Yeah, it does.
I was very sad about it. Okay, so I explained, so I just started going back over. Earlier, I explained the difference between state legislative and congressional districts, but I'm like, hey, let's just get a second opinion because I enjoy fact checking myself because I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. So, according to the random masses, George Regnieri, University of Rochester. MBA in finance. Why would I trust a finance bro? Whatever. Why would anyone trust me? So,
Patrick Bateman.
true. Congressional districts are the boundaries of a district of the representatives in the U.S. Congress. A few states. Wait, I already said all of this. Okay, yeah, never mind. This is all just what I said earlier, and I think I got that from another website too. Um, okay, well, I'll just read it off for the public good. Congressional districts are the boundaries of a district of representatives in the U.S. Congress. A few states only have one congressman. That would be Nevada. Is that? No, that's North Dakota. I'm not good with geography or the initials that go along with it. North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming, Montana. What's DE? Is that Delaware? Yes, Delaware, Vermont, and Alaska. Their congressional districts are the whole state, meaning that. So this is what we were going over earlier for those of you who were around when we were looking at all of the state legislator districts in California. There were like 52 of them, down from 53. Um, so those are proportional to the population of a state. Every state has Congress and a Senate members. The Senate, you have two per state, irrespective of population. Then you have the House, Congress, where you have representatives for certain districts, and they are proportional to the population of the state. So that is why certain states, like Vermont and Alaska, have only one congressman. Um, let's see. And every district has one representative. There are 435 districts across the USA. Oh, did we have another friend join? We lost one. Tragic. Um, anyways, so then there are the state legislative districts, so that's for Congress. But we also have the state legislature. So you know how we have the uh, federal government has the Supreme Court of the United States, and then we have the Congress of the United States, etc., etc. States also have something similar. We have state Supreme Courts. We also have state legislatures. So state legislative districts are for the state representatives. They meet in the state capital city and decide laws and budgets for that particular state. This varies state to state. Is that New Hampshire? New Hampshire? Is that state? Yes, that's New Hampshire. Like I said, dumbass has 400 state representatives. These are usually much smaller than congressional districts because a state may have 5 congressmen. So, like, for example, a state could have only 5 congressmen, but like 80 legislative districts. And there are a couple states in the US that have multiple representatives per district. Like New Hampshire has 204 districts, but 400 reps. So they have, on average, 2 representatives per district. Whereas in Congress, they only have 1 representative per district. Not super important, but basically, when we're discussing districting and gerrymandering, this is what we're referring to. The lines are drawn for congressional districts, and the lines are drawn for state legislative districts. So that means that if you group, 2 cities together, or a county together with another, outlying city, that population votes as a group for 1 representative for their district in Congress. Depending on where you draw that line, what cities are excluded, what parts of the city potentially, you can massively swing the way that the proportion of Republicans versus Democrats end up representing the entire state. So, starting from scratch, once again, we're talking about gerrymandering in the states. We just looked at congressional district and what that means. Now we start looking at how those things are drawn, typically by the state legislator. And some state legislators can have advisory committees, either appointed through statute through the legislature, which can be repealed, or it could be part of the state's constitution, which would typically have to go to the voters. although state constitutions can be changed in a lot of different ways. Is that High School Musical?
Yeah.
My girlfriend's very loudly playing High School Musical in the background. So, sorry, I'm completely lost in the sauce listening to High School Musical now. So, we're looking at fighting gerrymandering. That means the congressional district lines. We looked at what that means, which Congress is based on population. So, for example, California has 52 districts because we are literally the most populated state in the country. Um, so we like a lot of people live here. Um, Meaning that we need to have a lot of different districts to keep track of all of them. In most states, it's the state legislature that controls these district lines. So then we started looking at California in particular and how those district lines are drawn. Turns out that we actually have a independent commission. What's it called? The California's Independent Commission. Um, and we decided that I was going a little bit too in the weeds on that, so that will be we're going to look deeper into that organization at a later date. Um, but then we were discussing. I went off on another tangent about basically what democracy means. We don't have to worry about that. Um, and what it
Well, they are
means.
tangentially related, I'd assume.
Yeah. Basically, whether or not having an independent commission
Sorry.
of that source. No, you're fine. Just more input. Good. I like hearing back words.
Sorry if I'm not talking too much. I'm just absorbing the lecture.
You're totally fine. Either way.
Very
Um,
soothing.
so whether or not having an independent commission of that sort actually means that more democracy is happening depends. It's not enough just for that thing to exist. People have to be able to access that. That's part of how voter suppression works, actually. You can have voting as like an enshrined right, but because it isn't a national holiday, people don't automatically get time off of work to vote. In California, we get, I think, 2 hours paid to go vote. You can, like, even if you're scheduled on the day of voting, you can take time off for that purpose. Um, but not every state, most states, I believe, don't have protections of that sort, meaning that even though voting is an enshrined right, a lot of states don't meaningfully equip people to access voting stations. They might make it harder to vote by having fewer areas that you could vote. They might make it harder by restricting early access voting, meaning that you only really have one day or very few options to do the voting itself. Um, and I think this is true behind the scenes with once you get into the weeds with stuff like this with different commissions. Having a public commission is good. Having that as a right is good. However, we need to pair it in order for it to really meet the goals of being democratic. We need to pair it with steps to allow people to access those areas. And my point was that the majority of Californians, including myself, don't really understand congressional districting or the ins and outs of how it works. What do we see? Yeah. Um, so looking at a funny meme. Um, that's my point. Completely, you know, off on the side. Just it is impossible for me to read a paragraph without having opinions. So let's go back to only one tab away from the point. So, if advisory committees influence, now I am going back to reading off of the redistricting.lls.edu. Backup commissions. If advisory commissions influence redistricting maps before they go to the legislator, backup commissions have their influence afterwards. In 8 of the states above, Connecticut, Illinois, Maryland, Mississippi, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, and Texas, there are special backup procedures to draw state lines if the legislator does not successfully pass a plan. By the way, so this is after the census, every 10 years, you redraw your districts. Connecticut, Indiana, and Ohio use backup commissions for congressional districts, as well as state districts, I'm assuming. Yeah. Usually a specific deadline in the state constitution triggers the backup commission's work. So what this paragraph is saying is that In discussing how redistricting works, usually done by the state legislator, um, at least a couple of those states have advisory committees that guide the process. Basically, people, non-legislators, are invited to participate in the process of drafting the new district lines. So, usually done by state legislator. Some of those states have advisory committees. Um, a couple more than some of those states have backup commissions that if a state does not agree upon a new set of district lines by a certain date, there's going to be a backup commission that kicks in. These backup commissions all look a little bit different. In Maryland, redistricting falls to the governor's preferred plan if the legislator fails to act. In Oregon, the Secretary of State is the backup actor. In Connecticut and Illinois, the backup commission is composed of members selected by the legislative leadership. In Mississippi and Texas, the backup commission includes specific statewide elected officials, like the state treasurer or the state attorney general. In Ohio and Oklahoma, these models are blended, with a backup commission comprised of specific statewide officials and several members selected by the legislative leadership. So, don't worry about memorizing any of that. None of that's important to you guys. Doesn't really matter unless you find it independently interesting. This is just examples of how different states have their backup commissions work. Different states have different types of backup commissions. For some of them, it's just the governor. For some of them, it's like statewide elected officials, like a treasurer or attorney general. For some of them, there are members that are selected by legislative leadership. All that matters, start from the beginning. State legislators have control over the redistricting process. Some of them use advisory committees. Some of them have backup commissions in case they don't come to an agreement. My next question would be, what happens in other states who don't have backup commissions? But we've gone to the weeds too many times. I would assume they might just keep the former ones, or they just still have a deadline and it hasn't been a problem. I could be wrong. I don't know. Something interesting to look into in a future session, perhaps. Politician commissions. In all of the states above, the legislator is primarily in charge of redistricting. Elsewhere, some other entity draws the line. When was this written, by the way? Uh-oh, I don't have a date for this. I hate it when websites do that, because shit changes all the time. Whatever. Politician commissions. In all of the states above, the legislator is primarily in charge of redistricting. Elsewhere, some other entity draws the line. In 7 states, Arkansas, Hawaii, Missouri, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Virginia, draw state legislative districts with so-called politician commissions, where elected officials may serve as members. 3 of those states also use that for congressional districts. Each, again, is a little bit different. In Arkansas and Ohio, specific elected officials have designated seats on the commission. In other states, the legislative or party leadership nominates at least some of the commissioners, usually with balanced numbers from each party, and sometimes with a role for the governor or chief justice of the state Supreme Court to select nominees or appoint additional members to the commission. In Virginia, the commission consists of 8 legislators and 8 more independent citizen commissioners, because any plan must be approved by 6 of the 8 legislative commissioners and 6 of the 8 citizen commissioners. It may end up in practice functioning more like an independent commission. Oh, because the plan, okay, yeah. So, recap, most states, legislators are redistricting. In some states, it's not the legislator, it's actually politician commissions, where it's elected officials who are either appointed or, like, appointed as the date comes around, or, like, by taking on the role of governor, it's part of your duties to do this. Through a variety of ways, elected officials end up in the position of being on a commission that will draw the lines. Independent commissions. The remaining states, Alaska, Arizona, California, Colorado, Idaho, Michigan, Montana, New York, and Washington, all draw both state and federal districts using independent commission with regulations limiting direct participation by elected officials. Alaska currently only has 1 congressional representative and thus does not need to draw for congressional lines. Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about Alaska. Members of these commissions are neither legislators nor public officials. Each state, other than Colorado and New York, also bans commissioners from running for office in the districts they draw, based, at least for a few years after the commission finishes its work. Some of the states further limit commission members Some states further limit commission members linked to the legislator. Arizona, California, Colorado, Michigan, and New York, for example, also bar legislative staff from serving on the commission. California, Colorado, Idaho, Michigan, New York, and Washington bar lobbyists from serving on the commission as well. New York and Washington allow the legislator to override their independent commissions with a supermajority, although statutes limit the extent of the modifications. So, to break all that down, most states use the legislator. Some states use the legislator, but they have advisory commissions that advise the legislator made up of people who are not legislators. Some states also have backup commissions where if the legislators don't come together by a certain date, they kick in and they draw the state state district lines. Other states have political commissions that do the redistricting rather than the state legislator. And then finally, the rest of the states have independent commissions that are not political officials with varying levels of restrictions on that. With some states like California being really strict, saying that you can't you can't run for office in the districts you draw. You can't be a member of a legislative staff, so like a congressional staff member. You can't be a lobbyist, etc., etc. In order to serve on this commission, you have to be, for all intents and purposes, as much of a, you know, regular citizen as possible. Which, if you guys were paying attention, ties back to my critique of earlier, where, sorry, sometimes you're going to get flashbanged if you're looking at my screen by a frog with two snails on its head. Because I flipped through my tabs at Wild. So, this kind of answers the thing that I was saying earlier, which is that it's fine to have this commission, but you also have to take steps to ensure that that commission is reflective of the majority of Californians. So, what these restrictions that are laid out right here for California's independent commission, saying that you can't be a legislative staff member, you can't be a lobbyist, you can't be a office, like someone who holds office in the districts you draw, those are all things that reduce the level of corruption possible. However, which is good, and this gets us a little bit closer to a reflective population thing. However, for it's completely reasonable. I understand why this is a difficult ask. It doesn't independently build structures for the average Californian to get engaged. It just bars it just tries to limit the level of corruption inherent to the system by saying you can't actively be in office or tied to the legislator. However, it's still true that the people who are the most engaged in this process are probably going to be people with some level of political education or engagement, which is just kind of an inherent problem with democracy, being that for a true, complete, direct democracy with the most participation in the most, areas possible, you have to have a lot of education and a lot of free time, and you have to be interested in this stuff. I don't think in order for a good democracy to function, every single person needs to be equally engaged in the process, because that's just not how humans work. That's not how politics really works. There are always going to be people like me who are insane and really, really engaged. But if we have a society made up entirely of people like me, nothing's getting done. You also need to have everything else in society running and functioning, which also takes a lot of expertise, a lot of education, a lot of skill, like running a car manufacturing plant, understanding the regulations around that. That's an entire career right there. That takes years of specialization. So my goal would be to make the pathways into direct participation in government as non-intrusive and easy as possible, so that, with something like this, with redrawing district maps, this only happens every 10 years. It's this would be an area where I think it would be reasonable to develop a broader culture in California and hopefully eventually in America broadly, where once every 10 years, you know, not every single person, but like, someone in the neighborhood, someone maybe someone in your family, like it's a common occurrence that they will participate in this process or at least be informed or educated on this process. And that is not something that can happen overnight. That's a much larger thing, but I think that would be the goal for me. So, how does everyone feel? We feel a little bit better about what districting looks like?
Honestly, a lot better.
Yippee!
Hey, hip hip hooray. At the very least, this is keeping me from feeling like vomiting because at least there's someone actively engaging me and I'm not just by myself freaking out.
Yes, I will force you to learn. You do not have a choice. I'm the opposite of a gatekeeper.
Learn about your rights as a citizen or the kitty gets it.
Literally, yes. Okay, so all of that was a tangent.
I
Let's go
love
back to the
tangents. I'm
point.
a firm supporter of tangents.
Um,
I could vote for physical manifestation of a tangent for president, I would.
I feel like I'm probably the closest you're gonna get for physical manifestation of a tangent. Most of what I say is a tangent. Um, However, I'm not running for office, and I probably won't, unless it's for like a local school district board or something. I would totally get
I'd
into
vote
local
for you
office.
if you were in the running.
When I was a kid, I remember back in elementary school, they used to that thing like that. They asked everyone like, imagine it's your first day as president. What would you make happen? And most kids are like, no bedtimes or whatever. Um, Again, as previously stated, I'm a smartass. I didn't know what I was saying, but I was a smartass, so I was like, I wouldn't because that's too much paperwork. And that was it. And unironically, I still agree with myself. I would never run for president. That's too much shit.
Yeah, way too much. I think I genuinely wanted to be the president when I was a kid, and I genuinely thought I could do it.
Hey, the American dream lives on in some of us, just not me.
It's like American daydream,
Yeah,
American nap.
here's the thing. The reason why I wouldn't run for president right now is first of all, in order to take up the presidential office in America, I would have to abandon a lot of my core morals just by nature of being in that position. Like, the reason why
Yeah.
I disagree with people who are like, we can just have a socialist in office, that, like, I think for a lot of reasons, the political process up to the presidential office and everything that that job entails kind of necessitates being folded into the mainstream of one of the two major parties, both of which are heavily capital interest based. We do not have a pathway for any alternative to that system, and even if we had a third party, I don't think that would necessarily escape the fact that you are president of the United States, and your main job as president of the United States is to make sure the United States continues existing as it exists, not to introduce sweeping changes. Like, the goal is to make things better, whatever, whatever. But like, realistically, you're just supposed to keep her running. That's kind of the goal. Um, you can do a lot of good in that position. You can, like, the Green New Deal would have been a great thing for Biden to push for. Um, you have a lot of power. You can make things worse or better, but ultimately, you're just keeping things running. Um, Unfortunately, I am an anarchist, and I have a lot of problems with the fundamental ways that America is run. Also, I am like the least electable person in the world for national office.
I mean, there's got to be someone like no one on earth would vote for, and as previously mentioned, if you ran, I would vote for you. So like, you can't be the least electable.
Okay, I feel like I'd be really electable among like tranny, queer, like leftists, for sure.
Oh,
I'd
so
be
you're not the least electable.
I would be electable among based people. Unfortunately, the majority of America is really not based. The median voter is insane.
Unfortunately, they're not based. They're red pilled.
True. I would argue blue pilled. Well, I mean blue red whatever, but like red pill based. Um, so anyways, that tangent aside, reaffirming my point earlier that most of what I say is tangents. The main point, gerrymandering. So, to recap, in 35 of the 50 states, the state legislature controls how these lines are drawn.
Wait. Sorry.
Mhm.
Most of what you say is a plane curve at a given point that is intuitively the straight line that just touches the curve at that point in math.
If I understood math, I could give a response.
Tangent.
Yeah.
I meant to understand math. What was
Oh
the
wait.
question?
Wait, never mind. Rain understands math once.
Yay.
Hello? Hello? Mr. Obama? Okay. I forgot my audio doesn't work unless my headphones are plugged in. So, so I said most of what I say is a tangent, and then Lucy made a joke about tangents. And I responded that I don't understand math.
Oh, unfortunate.
Okay. So, gerrymandering. In 35 of the 50 states, controlled by the state legislature. So this occurs every decade after the census. And I explained earlier that the reason why is because in 10 years a lot changes. It's reasonable that the way that you are represented in Congress will also change depending on what areas become major population centers, what areas decrease in population. The goal is to kind of keep roughly the same amount of people represented per district. That doesn't always happen in practice. So, gerrymandering, and this is me reading off of indivisible.org, gerrymandering is the practice of manipulating electoral district boundaries in favor of a political party or incumbent. Historically, this has been used as a racist weapon to undermine the political power of minority communities and as a political weapon to ensure partisan advantage, and often gerrymandering does both. Political parties use racial data in a cynical way and have drawn maps at the expense of minority voters in both racial and partisan contexts. Although the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment, voting protections in the 15th Amendment, and the Voting Rights Act of 1965 have provided communities of color with some protections against racial gerrymandering, states continue to use district lines to suppress the political power of minority voters. And now that multiple provisions of the Voting Rights Act have been gutted by the Supreme Court, thank you, Trump, it is much more difficult for affected voters to challenge suppressive voting bills or unfair maps. This happens at both the state and the national level. At, at both the state and the national level, and allows political parties to consistently win and hold power. I just felt the edible fully hit. Jerry?
Yeah. On that note, I'm sorry, Ray. I gotta go.
You hate me. Okay. Um,
I do.
Faye, since this was your question, do you want me to continue reading about it, and then because I'm recording right now, I can upload it as a video so you can listen to it like while you work or do stuff outside stuff?
Um,
Or, would that help?
I don't think I would remember to do that.
Alright, no worries.
No.
Would it help if I like timestamped it for you and then sent it to you directly, or would you just rather hold this off for another time? Or we can just go
I
over it
think it would
again.
be. I mean, I think it might be good to hold it for another time. But if you want to keep talking about it and then tell me about it later, that'd be fine too.
Okay, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to
Yes,
copy and paste the tabs I have open right now. And
Say
yeah,
that again.
I'll hold this off for another time. I'm just gonna pop the
Yeah.
ones that I have, the tabs I have open right now down, and then we can talk another time. Maybe I'll put under suggestion box. Okay, yeah. Goodbye.
Jack. Right. Bye. Thank you.
Hope you have a good night.
You too. Good night.
How do I reply to something? How do I start a thread? Do either of you know how? Oh, there. Create thread. I'm so good at tech, I promise.
It's you and me now.
I also have a Bug in the room, and then John, my girlfriend, in the room, and then Rain is somewhere in the bathroom. Um, so
It's you
it's
and me and Rain and Bug and John with two ends now.
yeah, it's me and you, and then the four voices in my head surrounding me,
Greek chorus.
literally. Except all they say is mean things. Not all.
What the Greek chorus should be saying. Greek chorus if they were bass.
True. Huh? Everyone in my life. Okay, true. Rain is the exception.
I haven't said mean things. I've just done mean things as editing you eating the Twin Towers.
Okay, Bug says he hasn't said mean things, he just does mean thing, like editing the picture of me eating the Twin Towers. He also edited me to be bald and then made a pin of it that he just showed me. Like he just has a pin with my face on it.
There's even more, like the Matrix one.
And he wants to make more of them, and I'm just gonna wake up one day and he's gonna have a backpack full of pins with my face on it.
Ray pins.
He's defending himself saying it's his rare ray pins. I did not consent. I did not agree.
Collector's edition. Collector's edition.
Yeah. Lucy is saying collector's edition. Except it's
No, I immediately recorrected it to Collector's edition.
oh,
Because I'm
Collector's
gothic
collection.
evil.
True, based. Um, I live in a hell of my own creation. I was joking with Bug earlier that God overheard me joking about um being like part of a polycool streamer house, and then she's like, "You get to experience having a fan base, except it's exclusively your three friends, and all they're not fans; they just harass you."
That's what fans do to some people. Look at Chappelle Roan.
Yeah, true. I'm just like Chapel Roan, literally same person.
I mean, my fan experience has been having depressed children come into my chat and start trauma dumping, and then I have to just kind of figure out how to get them to stop doing that.
That was my fan base in high school, except I wasn't trying to get them to stop, and that fan base was just my friend group.
For me, it was like literally just random children on the internet, and so I was just like, I'm so sorry.
A wild shit to put on someone.
Huh?
Wait. Rain and Bug. Did you guys watch Cartoon Network as a kid?
So I'm just looking at the race
I
again.
have seen some shows that were on Cartoon Network, but we didn't get cable TV, so.
Hey, me neither.
Did you play Fusion Fall?
Not that I know of.
It was a Cartoon Network MMO for PC. It was actually kind of cool. I'm trying to think, how many Cartoon Network shows do I have to show Ray until I allow them to play the game so they know how cool it is?
So wait, does it have stuff from like all the shows?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Like you can have like 3 of like little chibi characters from like all the different shows. It's really cool.
I wasn't prepared for the Twin
Some of
Towers.
them look really fucking weird. The courage one.
That is so fucking
Okay,
funny.
I'm so sorry. I didn't hear any of that actually.
We're talking about cartoons.
I
Okay.
said I wasn't prepared for the Twin Towers one. The Twin Towers one is my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
I am a-
Lucy is a fan of the Twin Towers one, Bug. Bug picked the most Republican pictures of me in existence to Photoshop into that, and he said he did that on purpose.
To be fair, that's what most pictures of you look like. Excuse
No,
you.
in my phone.
Okay,
Oh
true.
my god, you do look kind of Republican.
It's horrendous.
Pictures of Ray.
I promise I usually don't look that Republican.
I like it. They should put it in the Met.
Fusion Fall.
Anyways, so I was just checking the polling again.
Getting attacked by plush.
Oh yeah. I don't know. Allahu Alam. I voted, you voted, whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
Is at the forefront
The
of,
problem with the horse
of the
race
promotion
thing.
stuff.
Oh, I was talking about this earlier. I can just say it
Because, like,
again
I love
now,
Ben 10.
because you know,
So I
public
was
benefit.
winning.
The problem with looking at the polls constantly, and the reason why I was kind of opting not to that tonight,
Yeah,
with
there's
the
a
like,
fan-
oh, who's ahead, who's ahead?
fan-
The voting already happened. Voting is closed
You can still
everywhere, I
vote to
think
this
now.
day.
Voting isn't a thing
Straight
where
up?
it's like
If if we want to ever play
The way I
FIFA
heard it
that
described the best, that really clicked with me, is that it's the reason why it's not this horse race thing is because it only happens once. You have a voting day. Well, I mean, you can submit votes up until a point, but the actual votes are not processed and like
you should like
put
post the
through
trailer.
until November 5th.
The trailer's
You
actually
have
super
no idea what
cool.
voters are going to do up until that point. Polling can only indicate it. People can tell you what they're going to vote for. You can get a pretty good estimation. Like, people spend billions to do that.
I forgot that's
But
how
you
we
don't
do
know
it.
until November 5th happens.
Oh
And when you
my
look on the
god.
day of November 5th, back and forth at like who's leading what state, you'll see like even right now in Georgia, only 94% of the votes are counted.
Insane.
When they call a state, it's basically just saying that the gap is wide enough that even though 6% of the votes haven't been voted, it's unlikely that that 6% of votes will sway the percentage different between the candidates. It could. It's possible. Usually when they say it's not, it's because like they're also going to check if you're a good pollster. Oh god, bug. Whatever.
There's more?
There are more. That was the aforementioned pin that I woke up one day and he showed me.
Well, I haven't sent it yet, dumbass.
Well, I assume you're about to send it. So, the thing about polling is that if you're doing a good job, when you're reporting this, when you're calling a state for something, even though all the votes haven't been counted, you're also looking at where the votes haven't been counted, which counties, because you vote by county, have not voted yet. Um, and then they're going to assume, given past elections and given the proportion at which other counties around it have been voting, it's likely that they are going to vote this way or that way. But the thing is, there are a lot of moving parts. So I'm a sociology student. Part of that requires education in statistics and breaking down numbers like this. I'm by no means an expert, but one of the way that pollsters interpret this data is they put it through models, including that information, like how have people voted in the past, what's the demographic, expectations for this, and the way that you decide upon a model is kind of up to you. I mean, if you're a good, reputable pollster, you tend to use one that has been true in the past, you tend to refine it. There's a lot of complicated ways you can choose better or worse. But at the end of the day, there are a lot of things that behind the scenes people are just kind of taking a shot in the dark based upon previous estimates to kind of guide their thinking this time. We don't know entirely. Like, they've gotten good at it, but the voting itself has already happened. Like the decision, like who won the election is already out there. We're just counting it and then kind of estimating when we call a state what that is. They still need to be certified. They still need, well, I mean, the certification is kind of a ceremonial process. Um, but many of these states, it's expected that they might go on for another couple days counting and checking all of these votes. In some places, the polls didn't close until midnight, so um, there's still a lot of counting to be done. Things can shift. But yeah, what's done is done. It already happened. What happens next is already up, in the air. What we know is going to happen after the votes are all counted is that the Republicans are going to challenge it unless they win. I'm fingers crossed. Not happy about the Senate.
Yeah.
We lost the House. Not happy about that. This is why down ballot voting is so fucking important. So, Republicans have the House. It wasn't unexpected. But I had my hopes up a little bit. So, what I talked about earlier today is that House Democrats right now are really worried. Is this something that you want to hear about right now?
Yeah, I'm fine with
Okay, okay.
that.
Just want to double check. Okay. So House Democrats are worried that the House Republicans are going to draw out their vote for House Speaker because whichever party gets majority of the House votes in the House Speaker. Um, Upon every reconvening of the Congress, like after the votes happen and stuff gets shuffled around, they meet, they appoint a House Speaker, and then they all have to come together and agree upon the rules of Congress. This happens every time. I think there are ways that can be streamlined, but whatever. I'm not an expert. Um, And without those two things happening, you can't really run Congress because you need the Speaker of the House to manage Congress. So the thing is, that's decided on January 3rd, I think, and the votes are certified on January 6th. And it's the House that certifies the votes. Well, technically it's the Vice President, but it's, you know, presided over via Congress. Um, so if Republicans, as House Democrats fear, who have the majority, therefore they're going to vote on the House Speaker. If they draw out the vote the way they did last year, when it wasn't Johnson. Johnson is the current one. McCarthy. When they voted in McCarthy, that was what was it, 3 to 4 days? That was kind of a historic thing, like taking that long to vote on the House Speaker indicated a lot of really deep divides in the Republican House at the time. Those divides may or may not have been resolved till now, but either way, House Democrats are worried that key members within the Republican side are going to strategically prolong the voting process in order to buy more time to cast out on the election. So, I think that's very likely going to happen. That's something we have to look forward to. We can't really do anything to change that. The votes have been cast. People have already voted Republicans into the House. And this goes into the gerrymandering topic because I'm sure that some of these districts for the House would have gone differently if there hadn't been massive voter suppression in Texas, in Georgia, and Florida. But, that's neither here nor there. Well, it is both here and there. Um, anyways, so yeah, that's something that looking, I'm fully expecting to happen. What's today? Oh my god, I have a class tomorrow morning. I have my politics of the 2024 election class in the morning. Tomorrow's gonna be a wild day. Um,
Um,
fun times.
yeah, I genuinely don't know how I'm gonna go to class tomorrow like it's normal.
Yeah, it's a rough one. I don't know what I'm gonna tell my professors in general, because I'm not gonna be good this next week or so.
I'm
Um,
gonna send each and every one of my professors an 5-minute long audio of me crying, and then I think they can infer from that.
I think I should just send them the recording of this entire video and be like, here's a glimpse into my dark and twisted mind. Sorry, give me like another couple weeks to get homework in. I will not succumb to fear. I will be strong. Um, so we can expect the House to do that. They're probably going to obstruct that. What would happen after that would be, it would basically cause a constitutional crisis, potentially, and then that would go up to the Supreme Court. I don't know what's going to happen after that. I'm not a legal expert. From what I've heard and from what I understand, I don't think it's likely that the Supreme Court can unilaterally appoint Trump in this case. Um, I mean, I guess this doesn't matter if Trump wins. This would be if Harris wins. I'm going to put out into the universe that that's what's going to happen. In this case, if Harris won the Electoral College in the popular vote,
Inshallah.
um, it's likely that the Republicans will use this tactic to prolong the situation. Then it would be kicked up to the Supreme Court. However, from my understanding, keep in mind that I'm not an expert. I have no idea. Anything could happen after that point. From my understanding, um, it would be difficult for the Supreme Court to unilaterally appoint Trump after that point without it facing a lot of um, challenges across the board with the Democrats. I think that would cause like broader organizing efforts to be put together to prevent that from happening. Um, because at least Democrats are institutionalist, if nothing else. Um, so that's most likely going to happen. We're going to see a lot of legal battles in the case that Harris wins, and a lot of counties and courts have been preparing for this since 2020. Since 2020, they have beefed up security. They have, across America, begun dedicating more time to preparing arguments for and against this sort of stuff. Um, so, after this week, we're gonna see a lot happening. If Trump wins, We can do our best, and that's all we can do. Um, we all already know the fallout from that is not going to be great, but you know.
Ray, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but I just got an ad that called America the Alpha
We did
Country.
all we
Come here,
can
Bug.
do.
Bug has something to say.
Oh my god.
I just got an ad on my phone referring to America as the Alpha Country.
True. USA. USA. Who's the Omega country? Would it be China?
Maybe.
Is this like world power equals alpha, or is this more of like an
It is
American
the Omega
nationalism?
country.
I can look into
Because
it.
I'm assuming this is American nationalism type of thing, in which case China would be the Omega. But if we're looking on a world power scale,
It's a training, activewear, and supplements brand.
a
For
training
those with
activewear and
a
supplements.
higher standard.
Okay, yeah, so it's a supplement brand. So obviously this is nationalist, which means
What do
China.
the supplements do? Make you a better American?
Great point. Lucy asked, "What's the supplement supposed to do? Make you a better American?"
Yeah.
I guess so. Yeah, make
Do
you
they send
more
you to
of a
free Uncle
nationalist.
Sam suit with it?
Hmm?
What is in supplements typically?
Bug is asking the question, was in supplements typically? Whatever the fuck the company wants. It could be anything from
Yeah.
activated charcoal to cinnamon to like random chemicals
Activated
to
charcoal.
By the
like
way, don't eat
One-
activated charcoal unless you're like supposed to.
yeah, have you seen that image of that drink, that health drink that was like activated
yeah.
charcoal and then grapefruit and then like two other things that's like, oh, that's just like
kill
the
your medicine drink.
yeah, that's just the like want to be off of all of your medications instantly, which is
Yeah.
like kind of goated. That would be crazy helpful in some cases, but insane to sell on a grocery store like shelf as like a health thing without any warnings, because that's just the like, oh, look at this fancy health drink. Oh god,
So
my
health
Lexapro
flexible in the
stopped.
sense that it certainly affects your health.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, if Trump wins, we fuck it, we ball. We do what we can.
Trump wins, they're gonna make that American supplement they're gonna like nationalize it, make it you required to eat it or drink it. I don't know, how do you take that supplement?
Yeah. If you want to vote, you have to take the American supplements every day. We check.
I'm just gonna say.
If he wins, you have to recite the Pledge of Allegiance every time before you have sex.
Of course, of course. Another point into the I'm a smartass kid. Um, I stopped participating in the national anthem at a really young age, not because I fully understood what that meant, but just because I was like generally like, hey, why am I pledging allegiance to something? I'm a child. That's weird. I was the type of kid who was like, children can't sign contracts, so this thing that I'm signing that says I'll do this doesn't mean anything. I wouldn't say that to anyone, but I would think that in my head. I was a very polite kid, but still a smartass.
I never had to say the Pledge of Allegiance to anything because I went to Muslim school until middle school, and I think my public high school, like most of the teachers there were Christian, but they weren't allowed to say it or bring it up in school. And
Mm,
I don't know, man. It was public high school San Jose. If you know, you know.
yeah. Based.
I will. Oh, sorry. Were you gonna say something?
No, go on.
Okay. I will say this. I all my life I've been in like Muslim schooling, so I was very sheltered.
Mm.
So the first time I went to high school, the first day I saw someone smoking in the bathroom and I was genuinely petrified, like, oh my god, what? Oh my god.
The shit people get away with in
So
public
when
high
I
school
went
is
so when I
crazy.
went so when I was a dumb little snitch kid, I went to tell the teacher, like, oh my god, someone's smoking in the girls' bathroom, and she just said, yeah, I bet she is, isn't she? And she didn't even do it.
Insane.
I was near tears over it. I was so confused and scared.
I don't blame you.
And the girl that I saw smoking in the bathroom, I think she was the one that told me to watch Death Note.
I was born and raised in public schools, but I went from Hayward, which is a relatively low income, majority POC community, to fucking Pleasanton, which is one of the
Oh
richest
my
cities
god.
in in California, I think the
It's
US,
fucking Will Smith type deal.
which is like mostly white people. The culture shock was insane and I'm still recovering from it. Um I remember like having discussions in English class about like racism and stuff, and I was in the because I'm a smartass, I was in the AP or like honors English from the beginning. So these were all like the smarter humanity, like higher level English kids. Person
Mhm.
after person, I remember them all saying like something to the effect, one person verbatim, everyone else like something around the area of like I definitely live in a bubble and I didn't even realize that like this was an issue to the extent that it was. Like I up until now thought that we largely had moved past that and this was like, we had egalitarian stuff and it's like the other wild things that like a lot of the students in that classroom were not white, and I still think about that. Like it's
What?
the ways that your upbringing and the communities that you are rooted in influence your understanding of like broad social things
I,
is so deep and ingrained in you from such an early age.
yeah.
It's crazy. It can be changed, but it has to be changed. That's the thing. Like it's not the default. I mean, obviously it's not the default to understand anything about anything, but like ah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think I might head off soon just cuz it's almost 11 and I'm EP tired. Um, yeah, thank you for joining
Oh,
for the last hour and a half or so.
yay. You can't shoot me like Old Yeller now because I actually went and joined the stream. Third time was the charm.
Yippee! We stay winning. Um,
Yay. It was nice talking.
yeah, thank you so much for joining. I hope some of it was interesting, and I hope some of it made
Oh,
sense.
thank you. Honest, Wallah, it was very informative, interesting.
Yippee!
Very
Um,
good lecture.
oh, thank you. I want to be a teacher.
Yay.
Well, I want to teach middle school, and middle schoolers actually do not like being talked out for 3 hours. So this skill set will not be applicable in my desired age demographic.
I'm used to being talked at. I grew up around everyone that was talking at me in a good way, in a good way.
um, I'm not used to the yapping, but I enjoy it a lot.
Hey.
I mean, I've always been a yapper, but in terms of talking to multiple people at a time, um, yeah. But yeah,
I feel like I have the yapper spirit, but it has to be like unlocked.
that's how it was for me.
If someone brings up something I really like, I talk for hours and hours and hours, but other than that, I'm just content to listen.
I think I care more about education than I care about not wanting to yap so much, so that if I have information about something, I will, no one can stop me from yapping.
What's it called? It's like the hero's call, but for talking.
True. But yeah,
Alright, I think if you're heading off soon, then I guess I should start heading off.
at some point, if you want, you can also let me know what your schedule is, like general week, and I can try to structure things to be a little bit more accessible.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Alright, bye bye.
Yeah. Have a good night. Bye.
Too, bye.
The horrors are over, but we persist.